Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of Retro Gaming Revisited. Today we're going to be doing a wrestling game for the Nintendo 64. We're going to be doing WCW vs NWO Revenge. This is the second game in the WCW vs NWO series, the first being World Tour. This game was groundbreaking for its time because it featured a revolutionary system called the AKI grappling system, which was created by AKI Corporation. I think they were a games publisher. I'm not entirely 100% sure. At the time of the game's release, the Monday Night Wars were going in favour of the WWF. I was always a fan of both. I would manage to keep up with what was happening in WWF because a few of my friends had Sky, but because I didn't have Sky at the time, I was keeping up with what was happening in WCW, so I managed to catch most of the NWO stuff. So despite that, apparently, and I can agree because I thought this as well, but WCW vs NWO Revenge was recognised as the best wrestling game of 1998. I don't think there was much opposition. I don't think Monday Night Raw. I don't think was it Raw or Attitude? I think there was two games that were like that, but they were really crap. For some reason, the characters felt like stickmen, and there wasn't a lot of options to do anything. The grappling system is part of what ensured the game's success and popularity. I mean, I thought it was amazing. When I first played World Tour, I thought it was one of the best things I've ever seen as far as wrestling goes. Wrestling games, that should be. I do have the others. I have WrestleMania and I have No Mercy, which everyone will agree that has played these games, that is a wrestling fan who likes the wrestling games, that No Mercy is the one. No Mercy, it was the one that it was like capped the mountain, and we are going to get around to doing that eventually. The reason why I liked it was a very simple system. Unlike a lot of other games, you didn't need to know any combos or anything to do well. The graphics were improved. I mean, well, it's going to happen anyway, but World Tour was very bland as far as the graphics went. There was not a lot of colour, and there just wasn't a lot to go on, really. So they've expanded. I mean, this is a lot more colourful, I can tell you that for a start. The one thing that there's a few things this one has more than the others. Ring entrances, a larger roster. You can have your managers or valets or tag team partners ringside. Run-ins, when another wrestler would run in. There were you had the referee. You had the referee voice to say like rope break and do the 3 count. They actually had like proper arenas, because I remember I think there was just one level that you could play in World Tour. This one had it has like Raw, not Raw, sorry, that's the wrong company. But they had Nitro, Starcade, Sold Out, Super Brawl, Bash at the Beach, and stuff like that, and Halloween Havoc and stuff like that. There was a built-in save file, so if you did make any changes, you wouldn't need a memory pack, which I think was another big selling point. You could have 4 players, Battle Royale. It's called Battle Royale because they can't call it the Royal Rumble because it's a different company, of course. I mean, there was the gameplay mechanics changed. Like you could reverse more often. It wasn't like a secret anymore. You could do reversals for almost anything. Tall wrestlers, they would step over the top rope rather than through the middle, because that's what they did. Like Kevin Nash and Big Show, he's called the Giant in this, and guys like that would, generally it was more sensible, because you wouldn't have a guy who's 7 foot tall step through the middle rope, really. I mean, they tend to step over the top rope. You know, more nimble characters like Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera. They could slide through the bottom rope and stuff. You know, it was pretty good. I mean, they had instant replay as well, so when you won, you could relive your your winning move or whatever. All in all, this was the shit. You know, this was how the wrestling games evolved, especially on the N64. So having said that, we're going to play a little bit. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do a Royal Rumble. What arena shall we use? Oh yeah, Sold Out. That was the other one. We'll do it at Super Bowl, I guess. We won't do loads and loads. We'll just do 20 and random. Okay. Now I know a lot of these wrestlers. Obviously, a lot of them are. Yeah, you can Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. A lot of them were previously WWF wrestlers. Of course, everyone knows who Hulk Hogan is. Giant, the Giant. That is actually the Big Show. Before he was Big Show. Brian Adams, I think I might be wrong, but he used to be Adam Bomb in the WWF back in the early 90s. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. Yeah, you can change their outfits if you press right C as you're going through it. Scott Norton, don't know him. Buff Bagwell, yep, I remember him as Marcus Alexander Bagwell back in the day. Eric Bischoff. The fact that he's actually a wrestler in this is it's quite funny. Scott Steiner. Any wrestling fan knows. They know all about Scott Steiner. Kurt Hennig, that's Mr. Perfect, of course. Just in case anyone wasn't up with it, I might as well go through the roster and just, you know, Kevin Nash was Diesel back in the day. Sting has always been Sting. That's how he used to look. That's the old Stinger back in the 90s and the 80s and 90s. And then he went to the Crow sort of look. Lex Luger, he's always been Lex Luger, or the Total Package. The Macho Man. Oh yeah! I always loved the Macho Man. I thought it was brilliant. Conan, he was always in WCW. I mean, I listened to Steve Austin's podcast, and apparently he was on WWF at one point, but I don't think it lasted very long. Raven's Flock, we know Raven. Raven was in WWF for a bit. Apparently he felt underused or not used properly. You can kind of understand. I mean, these guys, they had quite a big run, especially in the ECW. Raven was obviously the ECW guy as well. Just going through their outfits really. Lodi, I think I remember. I don't remember him being in Raven's Flock when I was watching it, but I remember him being in a tag team with another guy, and they were clearly meant to be homosexual. Nothing wrong with that if that's your thing, but they were really playing up to it, like, you know, oh, we have, you know, clearly open homosexual wrestlers without actually like saying that they are, you know, like they'd have like pigtails and lollipops, and you know they you know, instead of like, you know, high-fiving and stuff, they'd cuddle at the end of the match and stuff. It's like whatever, you know, they were trying to make it too much of a point. Sick Boy, Reese, Kidman, yeah, Billy Kidman. That gimmick didn't last very long. Okay, right, we're on to WCW. Roddy Piper, everyone knows Rowdy Roddy Piper. DDP. I actually have some DDP Yoga DVDs. They're really good. They're really good. I recommend it. If you struggle to do like gym workouts, DDP Yoga is probably a good alternative. Goldberg, he's infamous for shortening careers and generally being shit. Bret Hart, the Hitman, you know. Obviously, this was not long after the Montreal Screwjob. So we all know how that ended up. Chris Benoit. Oh, sorry, maybe I shouldn't mention his name because no one else does. You know, it's Chris Benoit, okay? I mean, yeah, what he did was terrible, but, you know, the guy was a legend. Rick Steiner, always WCW, except for a very short stint in WF. Finley, who went from WCW to WF. Booker T, five times. Well, he's 6 times now. Alright, you know what? I'm not, you know, Perry Saturn. I'm not going to hang around too much in this because you're probably getting very bored by now. So Jim Neidhart, yeah. So as you can see, a lot of guys that used to be WWF. Jumped ship to WCW for a bit. Bulldog wasn't in WCW for very long at all, but he was there for the duration of the time they were building the roster for this game. So that's how he's ended up there, but he went straight back to WWF about a year later, I think. I don't think he was in WCW for long. Meng used to be Haku. Listen to the podcast with Vader and a few other the old school boys like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and there's some stories about Meng. Fuck that guy, you don't want to fuck with him. W73, yeah, the Barbarian, he was WWF once upon a time. Alright, okay, so there's a few names here that we obviously will know. Well, us wrestling fans will know. Chris Jericho, of course. Eddie Guerrero. Why they spelt it Eddie like that, I don't know, but I'm gonna be Eddie Guerrero. Oh Jesus, sorry, pressing all the wrong buttons here. I don't know why they spelled it like that, but that's, I don't know. I'm gonna change that in a bit. Psychosis, Rey Mysterio. Yes, that is the Rey Mysterio that is in WWF or was. Dean Malenko. Ultimo Dragon. I always used to pick this guy, and I used to have him in the black outfit. Yeah. Although he never did that. Not that I was aware of, anyway. Interesting. Okay. These guys are all fake. They don't exist. Akiman, Shogun, Executioner. I don't know why. Neither do these guys. I mean, I would guess that's probably a really crap attempt at being Yokozuna. And yeah, I remember the stuff me and my friends used to say about this guy when we were playing years ago. What we used to call him instead of Dake Ken. Hanzomon, I think that was one that everyone picked the most because he's got some sort of crazy, crazy submission move. Alright, so let's just pick Chris Benoit, Glacier, and Stevie Ray. Alright. Sorry, I took a bit of a while there just doing the going through the roster, but you know, I figured, hey, you know, might as well have a look and see who's on it, right? Yeah, God bless Eddie Guerrero. Fuck, it was sad, man. Such a loss to the wrestling world as well. I mean, I don't know if he'd still be going now, but hey, you know, he had so many more years left in him as well. And Chris Benoit, I mean, what can you say about that? You know, anyone who's read the reports, you know, it's unfortunate, but apparently that's why now concussions and stuff like that are taken, like they're taken out just beyond seriously. Like, oh, if a guy's got a concussion, he doesn't wrestle for ages. Now this guy, Glacier, was brought in. I remember his debut. He was supposed to be Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat, or a knockoff of that. I mean, but the thing is, they didn't have any. I don't believe they had any other wrestlers that were in the vein of Mortal Kombat characters to make it worthwhile. I mean, it was kind of cool, his debut. Like, he was in the middle of the ring, and you know, he'd have all this snow falling, and there was a spotlight on him, and the arena was dark and stuff. It was kind of cool, but you know, if you're not going to back it up with more wrestlers that are Mortal Kombat character knockoffs, then don't do it. Don't do a gimmick you're not going to follow through with. Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat, tag team Harlem Heat, anyone remember? The infamous Hulk Hogan, We're Coming For You, Nerf Herder. It's infamous, infamous. Just look it up, it's on YouTube. Alright, here we go. Oh my god. So we all just kind of walk to the centre like it's a game of Hungry Hungry Hippos. So this was a bit strange. The Battle Royale was it was meant to be like the Royal Rumble, and as you can see I just eliminated Stevie Ray. Now I've got the Hulkster in here. The only problem was the game could not. The flaw with the game in regards to this was that when you knock someone through the ropes, it would still detect the fact that you've knocked them through the ropes. It would detect the fact that they hit the floor as being out. You know, I'll show you again, but they could. I mean, it would have been better if you had to beat the guy down a bit and then you'd be able to actually throw him out over the top rope. There was on the Super NES and Mega Drive games were like Royal Rumble and Raw, which had the Rumble option, and you had to. And in that game, and that was on the Super NES, and they were notorious for being a bit stiff and a bit bland and boring, I guess. But the thing about them was that you had to beat the guy down a bit before you could throw him out of the Rumble, which makes sense. That's how the Rumbles usually work. You know, well, I mean, unless you're the Bushwhackers or something, then you get thrown out straight away. But interestingly enough, this game couldn't detect if you went out over the top rope. But I thought, well, you should be able to beat the guy down, then throw him out. Because I'll try and do it here. No, he's just reversing everything. Okay, alright. I mean, this is still 100 times better than the WWE 2K insert number here games that they're doing now. Because that Royal Rumble mode is shit. It's really shit. It's literally just a case of having lots of mini games. Okay, so this is one of the reversals that they were talking about. You just have to hammer the buttons. Yeah, okay, I won that. It is kind of like a test of strength when they do that. Okay, I have no idea how I grabbed Benoit instead, but. Okay, so he went through the middle rope, we all saw that. And he's out. Like, I have no words. I mean, I know that it must have been difficult to program a Royal Rumble to begin with, like, let alone have, like, you know, to program 4 characters in the ring at once. See, now that's fine. That would have been okay to me. If you know, you beat the guy down a bit and then you throw him out like that, that's fine. But it's just it's quite easy to win one of these, you know, if you know what you're doing. Goldberg. I have to say, like, I was a big fan of his in WCW, but when he came to WF, I was so excited because by then I'd stopped watching WCW, obviously, because it was finished. But I'd really gotten into WF in a big way, and you know, that was my go-to wrestling franchise. I didn't see out the last days of WCW, but then after a while, you know, because we had Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and who was the last guy? Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn. Oh my God, who was the fourth? Oh no, it was Chris Benoit. Yeah, the Radicals. Yeah. So when we had those guys, everyone started to think, "Oh my God, this is great." You know, these are WCW guys. coming into WF, but they were around for a while before the rest of the guys started turning up, like the NWO and the proper invasion angle, But then they kind of, because they didn't get everybody, or at least they didn't get the people they wanted initially, they ended up supplementing it with WWF guys who had been in WCW. Like Chris Jericho, who was, he was currently in WWF, previously of WCW, and stuff like that. And then when they finally did get Goldberg, they just didn't want to, because he was basically, well, they tried to make him WCW's answer to WF Steve Austin. It's just not gonna work. They both had the same tights, the same stuff, but the stories were better in WWF. They just made Goldberg out to be this invincible guy who couldn't be beat. That's why he had that streak. Look it up. The Undertaker's got a streak worth mentioning. I think I got thrown out. The Bulldog fucking threw me out. Fucking asshole. He's dead now too. His was heart complications, definitely, because of... I hope it wasn't, but I have a very bad feeling that it was. Or just, maybe painkiller abuse, I don't know. Oh, I got Chris Jericho, I'm happy. No, that'll do. I always liked when the games did stuff like this, like they had these random guys who never existed, or they just decided, what, we're gonna have some fun. We've done the actual roster for the game, like the real guys, so we're gonna have some fun and put some fake dudes in there, and we're gonna make them look like superheroes or supervillains, whichever way around it goes. For all I know, they could have been legitimate New Japan guys with all the wacky outfits and stuff that they use. It's interesting that a lot of the assets for this game were left over in WrestleMania as well. I have a feeling that it's probably because AKI, because they developed it and published it, that they were able to just basically copy and paste. They did a lot of new content. They had to, because these guys, completely different roster. WCW and WWF, but a lot of stuff remained. Like you could make Aki-Man in WrestleMania 2000. That game was great. When that first came out, it was really, really good. But No Mercy came out and just absolutely destroyed it. It was like so good. But all the games that Aki did for the Nintendo 64 in regards to wrestling, each one shows evolution. It shows how the development team saw what was good with the old one and bad with the last one, and bring it forward. The only thing I miss about, and I know it sounds a bit petty, but the only thing I miss about WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy was the blood. But I have a second edition of No Mercy, because what would happen is there was a way to unlock characters like Shawn Michaels, Earl Hebner. Oh, God, I'm not drunk. I think I'm just tired, just talking bollocks. But you can unlock like hidden characters and stuff, okay, and different outfits and stuff in the survival mode of No Mercy, which is what we're talking about. And there was a glitch with the blood, because in this, if you hit a guy enough in the head, he'll usually get busted open and he'll bleed. So they didn't have that in WrestleMania 2000. I'm not sure why, but they didn't have it. They still have the animation, like the guy reaches to his head and looks at his hand and gets all pissed off or faints, you know, whichever way around the character goes. And in No Mercy, they brought it back. One of my friends, he got No Mercy on launch day, and he's probably spent the best part of like 2 days like playing it like solidly, but he couldn't understand why whenever he unlocked Shawn Michaels, whenever he would turn the game off and turn it back on, that it would be missing. Like all of his save data would be missing. Wrestlers that we've created, championships he's unlocked, anything, arenas, moves, because you can unlock moves as well or purchase them, whatever. You can unlock stuff, and it was all reset back to normal, like factory reset. So I think a product recall was issued, or it was in like video game magazines and stuff, that if you had bought No Mercy and it had like the serial number was between these ones, that you had to take it back, because the blood, when it the fact that the models could bleed, that like the character models would bleed, corrupted the game data, like the save data or something, and then it would just rub the saved file from existence. So my friend spent like 3 days getting Shawn Michaels again and again and again through the survival mode, turn off the machine at the end of the day and it wouldn't save. Because obviously I got mine a bit later, I didn't have No Mercy with the glitch, which I've really. But when you see it in this, when a character bleeds from the head, you know, you think, oh, you know, yeah, that's cool. You know, it's just a little bit of extra realism that, you know, really does make a difference. And then the next 2 games didn't have it, but why? It's the same code, it's the same game. Why didn't it have it? Booker T, can you dig it, sucker? The only thing about these games is they are a little bit stiff, but they are so competitive, because it's not like a fighting game where if you know all the special moves you're going to beat anyone that comes along, or you're going to be able to have a really good fight. You can't button mash, especially not in this. You know, you need to know what you're doing and when. Because you need, yeah, well, like I'm saying, you need to know what you're doing, otherwise you're going to lose. Yeah, especially in the Rumble, you're going to get thrown out. Okay, so I'm doing pretty good with Jericho so far. 11 minutes in the match. I haven't been counting, so I don't know how far we are from the end. Well, I just wanted to show you actually what the Royal Rumble mode in this looks like. And I am going to cover WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy as well. I'm hoping to do a few videos of these games with friends. It's better when you play it with friends. Everything is really, but you can play these games on your own. Oh man, come on guys, give me a break. I don't want to get thrown out and then I end up, like, you know, being from the end. See, Conan, that's what you get when you pick on me. WWE Hall of Famer Larry Zbyszko. I remember me and my friends would play this for hours. So, oh, speaking of the newer games, I haven't played 2K16 yet. The one with Steve Austin on the cover. I haven't played that yet. I've only played 2K15 and 2K14. I preferred 2K14 because the roster was larger. The road to was it called Road to WrestleMania or WrestleMania Moments or whatever it was. Like I enjoyed that, like reliving all the WrestleManias from WrestleMania 1 to 29, because obviously 30 hadn't happened by then. And I liked it. I liked being all of the old guys and then the Attitude Era WrestleManias and so on and so forth. You know, and it wasn't every match on the card, because that would take years to program, especially with all the cutscenes and stuff in between. But it had like the main events, or you know, the match of that WrestleMania, and sometimes they would have a couple of different ones, because I remember there was a few. I think it was when Chris Jericho won the Undisputed belt. I think that was at WrestleMania, and you had to play like 3 matches, because you had to get through Triple H and then Stone Cold to set up the final, something like that. I mean, I know the final was a triple threat, but whatever happened, you know. But I didn't like 2K15. First of all, like the reversals mode was Sorry, I don't know why I'm trying to concentrate playing and talk at the same time. It's not easy. The reversals system for 2K16, 2K15, and all of those games, like, it's ridiculous. You just tap R each time you want to reverse. And it's hard. It's harder to do it when someone's punching you on the ground or dropping elbows on you. It's easier to do it with the grappling, because there's certain animation. Oh, see, I'm talking and I've lost. Let's see if I can pull him out. Alright, I just have to pick who I want to win. Anyway, going back to what I was saying about 2K15, the reversal system, you just tap R and away it goes. You know, like it just happens. You can reverse, unless of course you get into the reversal battle, where it's one after the other. You just keep reversing each other, reverse, until one of you wins. Especially on the finisher moves, that's just, you know, ridiculous. But I just didn't like it. It's unlimited reversals. You can just reverse everyone else. You can reverse people all day long. You know, there's the Royal Rumble mode. It's just fucking mini games. You know, you get them in the corner and it's okay. So you have to now press X, then Y, then B, then A. It's like random selection of buttons, and you just have to make sure you press them when it prompts you. It's quick time events. The Royal Rumble mode has become quick time events. I mean, the graphics are great, and that's the thing about it. It's good because it looks like what the Royal Rumble looked like before this year and stuff like that. But you know, it's crap. It's all mini games. Who wants to play a Royal Rumble with mini games? That's why I still say these are this series of games, like from World Tour to No Mercy, are the best games, wrestling games ever. Because the rest of them, I mean, yeah, you've got the new roster, but so what? You know, I mean, 2K15, they bleed. Like, you know, you can hit them with the chair or something, and they bleed. You can barely see it. You know, well, you should put an option in there to say, well, if you've bought the game and you're not, you know, you don't have to make the game PG. You can allow, like, choose like what level. There's parental locks. You can say, like, all the gore you want, sort of, like, you know, within reason. You know, there's no like chainsaw matches or anything. But you know, if someone gets busted open, just let it bleed naturally, and then you could have had a function where if you keep punching the wound, it opens up and it bleeds more. And missed opportunity, massive missed opportunity. And the weapons, I mean, I know they're not Attitude Era weapons, but they were better. The barbed wire 2x4, you know. And it takes so long to set the table on fire that no one bothers. Well, at least I don't. I mean, I will get around to playing that one day with some friends, but I mean, I played with my mate Ab. We played it for a while. Oh my god, this is taking so long. I'm going to see if I can track something out. Right. Is he fighting me out there? There we go. I mean, I'm out and I have to sort out the fucking thing because the AI are too stupid to do it themselves. Wow, okay. So Jim the Anvil Neidhart wins the Royal Rumble, Battle Royal, whatever. So yeah, going back to what I was saying about the 2K15 games. There's just so many missed opportunities. I've heard from a lot of sources that 2K16 is a lot better. Like, it's improved in so many ways, you know. But all I want is a better. I want a large roster like this game. I mean, how many guys were we going through? It took nearly, you know, like what? It must be a minimum 10 minutes to have gone through the roster at least. You know, it's just one of those games that it's entertaining. It just is from start to finish. And that's just the way it's always going to be. But if you've got a small roster, you're limited to what you can do. I mean, the universe mode doesn't make any sense. It never does. It's kind of fun, but the No Mercy Championship mode was better because not only did it follow a preset storyline, but you could also choose to lose a match or win a match or whatever. Whereas the universe mode, it doesn't. You could lose all your matches and it would still just carry on, you know. Whereas the championship mode, which I will do a video for that as well, it tells you there's a stipulation like make your opponent bleed and win, or you know. I don't know, like you hit your opponent with a chair 5 times but lose, you know, something like that. You know, not just sort of, oh well, we don't know what to do, so if you lose or win, you know, we'll just carry on. You know, I understand what they're getting at because, you know, a lot of kids are going to buy the game and you know, they're going to play it and stuff, but you know, there are adults are going to buy it as well because there are adult wrestling fans. But hey, you know, I'm probably one of many. So that was WCW versus NWO Revenge. I don't have World Tour yet, but it just got better from here. From here onwards, it got better. I mean, like I read out at the beginning, you know, the graphics were improved, the gameplay was improved, you know, all the modes that you can do were improved. So, you know, it was a good step forward. It was a step forward in the right direction. It was nice when I played it as a youngster. To see a lot of guys that I knew from WWF days, and I didn't understand about territories back then, or the wrestling business in general. Really, I mean, obviously, I did. I knew it wasn't. I knew it was predetermined, but I wasn't aware that you couldn't work for one company and then work for the other. You had to have your contract expire and stuff like that. I was never aware of that at that time. So, you know, learning about that and then realising, oh, okay, so they released him, so he went to WCW, that's why he's in this game. It made more sense that way, you know, now I get it. You know, at the time I wasn't sure, I just thought, oh wow, the British Bulldog, cool. Or, you know, yeah, the Anvil, you know, Bret Hart, you know, because the other one, World Tour, didn't have that big a roster. It had guys I'd heard of, but it didn't have all the guys that I knew from before, like these guys. So, okay, I'm going to leave that there. Definitely, if you like wrestling and you like wrestling games, you might be about my age, which is 31. You would have already played these games. I'm sure you would have done. If you're a wrestling fan, you've been around as long as I have. You'll have played these at some point. So you'll agree with me that this series were the best wrestling games. You can get them on eBay for, you know, next to nothing now. They were mass produced, loads of people had them. They're still, some of them are considered collectors, I guess. They're kind of collector's items, I suppose. Not the cartridges, like, but the game, like the fact that it's a wrestling game, um, and all that stuff. So, if you're a collector, I would say this is a good one to add to your collection. So that's it. I'm going to end it there. Don't have much else to say. Just that, like I said in my Duke Nukem video, now that I've got my N64 up and running, there's going to be more videos in regards to this system as well. So please hit the subscribe button down here, over on this side or down in the description. There's my Facebook, Twitter, groups I'm affiliated with on Facebook and stuff like that. It'd be great if you could check them out. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you again on the flip side.